university at that time for pre-law, I went over to see Jackson. He had a big, spacious office. Oh my golly. That was really beyond the need that he had, but it was beautifully arranged, and he was very cordial. Gentleman like he always had been.
Were they just sort of social visits, or were they there
No,
for any other reason?
just a social visit.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I didn't have anything of a legal nature at that time. It was just the fact that I had known him here. Why, I thought it'd be nice to drop in to see him. And he was very pleased, at least he appeared to be very pleased that I did, and I'm sure he was.
He was a very political guy, wasn't he?
Political?
Political, very politically party related, as far as Democratic Party. I mean.
Oh yes, he was a firm Democrat. I guess that came from his family. And every time Roosevelt would come to this area, why, he'd entertain the governor, and he never ran for office.
Mm-hmm.
Bob never ran for office, but was well entrenched in the Democrat Party. I mean, it was his forte, and certainly it was a good relationship, because Roosevelt recognized his capabilities and his incisiveness, and he knew he'd be a good man to bring to Washington, which turned out to be very true.
What did Mr. Jackson indicate to you at that age what kind of his goals were? I mean, did he have where his prize was? He's in Washington now. Did he have aspirations? I'm sure he did, but did he express them?
Not. I don't have any recollection of in that way. No. He earlier, when I was in high school, Jackson, of course, had, I think it was a postgraduate course at Jamestown High, and he got his diploma. And when he was there, and I don't know whether the Lyceum was still going when you were in high school, was it? Well, the Lyceum was a debating society for young men. I guess it could have been for girls too, but that's the way things were back then. It was either men or women, and the Lyceum was the debating society for the young fellows. And I, by happenstance, happened to be president of it for 1 year, and Jackson would visit us occasionally and talk to us about the demeanor of young men who were interested in debating, and as I recall, he was very much for incisive thinking, which was one of the things that stuck with me, and the clarity of speech. He tried to impress upon us that necessity. So we were always glad whenever he'd visit us at the high school, and that was just when he was just in practice here. And I don't know whether it was even before he was with Herrick, Durkin, and Leet. I think it might have been before their partnership even. But he was always interested in young people, And I guess that's maybe why I felt he'd be amenable to my calling on him in Washington.
I think that's neat. You just kind of called up, made a how do you? At the time, did you have to write in advance? Did you call?
No, I like a darn little fool would just go over there and make myself known, and his receptionist was very cordial, and went in, and he said, "We'll have him come in."
Yeah.
So that was the way it was. No, there was that. Probably, of course, he was well known as a corporate lawyer. Golly, very successful in that, and even in his little trials, he had a way of winning. I remember he had this case in which I believe my uncle, Emmett Ross, was representing the plaintiff in a little accident that was out between Sinclairville and Gary. This farmer on his little rig came out into the highway and was hit by an automobile that was coming by, and it killed the horse and ruined the buggy, and I don't recall what injuries the farmer had. But anyway, my uncle was representing the farmer, and Bob Jackson was representing the owner of the automobile that struck it. The outcome, I don't remember what it was, but I remember I listened in on the case a little myself, and of course Jackson was very much at ease, as he always was, in presenting his case. So it was that. I mean, he'd have a general practice. Now, if you'd take a little case like that, why, it would have to be general practice.
Exactly.
But of course, he eventually was a real corporate lawyer, and was the one that his firm would turn over those heavy cases to him, which is understandable. I mean, golly, a person, horses. And he had stables out near Lakewood. I know. Do you know where the Perkins restaurant is?
Yes.
Now it's Denny's, I guess. It was in that area, and that's probably part of the property that he had at that time. But he was very interested in horses. As a matter of fact, he was, when he went, I don't know if you're familiar with the Mark Master degree in the York Rite Masonry. Well, the Mark Master, you have to have a Masonic mark, you know, like the Masons way back. They would put their mark on stones that were in the buildings as they constructed, and that is their little masterpiece. And they could always be identified. If the stone was perfect, they'd be praised. If it were not, why, they'd have their mark on it. But when he went into that phase of masonry, why, his mark was a horse head. And we've got the Book of Marks in the lodge, and you turn it over, and here's Bob Jackson and his own inscription, and the horse head was his mark.
No kidding.
But he was very interested in horses and riding. I don't think racing, I don't think he was involved in horse racing. But that was one of his hobbies, was the